This video is brought to you by Grandeur Warranty, your #1 online source for factory-backed extended warranties in the country. Have you recently heard somebody say they don't build trucks like they used to? Yeah, I keep hearing this every single day. People say pickup trucks used to be more reliable, they used to be better built, they used to be more affordable. So I want to answer this question in this video, or at least attempt to. And I have two Ford F-150s. They're about 14 years apart. So let's see, did they actually build trucks better before than now? I picked this truck because it's traditional for current days. It's a crew cab 4-door with a shorter bed. It's a 4x4, and it's one of the most popular configurations ever. It also happens to be a 2011 Ford F-150 with the EcoBoost twin turbocharged V6. And this is quite interesting. This truck is about 14 years old. It's got 173,000 miles. Is it still reliable? How does it drive? What kind of capability does it have? Well, let's see. And the new truck is represented by this F-150 XLT. Same trim level as this older generation F-150, but they're separated by about 2.5 generations and a lot of new technology. But it just so happens to be that under the hood is also a 3.5-liter twin turbocharged V6 EcoBoost engine. So are they almost identical? Well, we gotta drive them and look at all the features. All right, let's step back in time just a little bit. This is the 12th generation of the F-150, and it was kind of in the middle of that generation. It was a big, huge year for Ford with this truck. I'll explain that in a couple of minutes. But I actually think it's a very attractive design still to this day. The dashboard is pretty flat, pretty clear. You have your CD player right here, you have your radio controls, you have your climate controls down here, and I'm very comfy. It's got a bench seat, there's a little bit of storage underneath the center seat, and this folds down into a little console. So this looks very familiar, just like a brand new truck. This key is very simple: lock, unlock, and alarm. And you do have to put it in to start the engine. It has a column shift for the 6-speed automatic that's behind it with tow haul mode. So this feels still really great. It's working just like it's supposed to. Right here you have your 4-wheel drive controls, 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low. There's no 4-wheel drive automatic, at least I don't believe in this year, in 2011. And you also have there. You have a locking rear differential as well. I'm basically trying to look around this cabin and see if something just appears odd to me, and I can't find it. Take a look at the brake controller. Yeah, it's right here. It's exactly where I would expect it. And I can decrease my brake gain and increase it. And yeah, everything seems to be in hand, but there is no automatic climate control system here. And of course, there is no navigation. How will I know where I'm going? This truck keeps on surprising. There's 2 additional cup holders down below. There's a little cubby down here, maybe big enough for a phone. It's powered by sync with Microsoft, so you can actually plug in some auxiliary devices in here, and you have a USB port. And you also have 2 12-volt power outlets. And this cigarette lighter doesn't appear to be ever used, so that's a good sign already. And it doesn't seem to smell in here. And there's a second 12-volt right here. So quite good amount of options. Steering wheel is nicely wrapped, and it has a few features. There's some phone integration right here. That's really, really cool, even for 2011. And cruise control, and also menus that you can kind of go through some features in the center screen right there in the middle. I specifically picked an XLT trim to compare to that XLT trim But times are changing, so we don't have a bench seat here anymore. Although you can still get, of course, in 2025 an F-150 with a seat here in the middle. But this is a little bit more fancy. Yes, times are changing. I can show you all the screens. I also have this office table here in the center. So actually, this is a really cool feature that I like. Yes, the key is also getting fancier. Of course, you can lock, unlock, but now you could remote start the engine via the key. You could open the tailgate. Of course, you have your alarm, and you have your manual key as well. So if you are without power, you should be able to unlock the door right there. And it's got a push button start, but there's certain F-150s, even now, that have a key that you actually have to put in the slot and turn. Here it is, it starts up. This is 14.5 generation, and it has all digital screens all the time. The steering wheel is also pretty well wrapped, feels good, and it's very adjustable. Telescopes and goes up and down. So I feel like I can actually get a little bit more comfortable in this truck versus that 2011 as far as ergonomics are concerned. But the seat is still quite comfortable and supportive. And here on the steering wheel, I have many controls and buttons. Still, phone control, volume control, cruise control. This has lane centering, adaptive cruise control. On this side, here I have my menu controls, and I can see a lot more data in the huge screen up above. There's also a 12-inch diagonal screen here, and I'm not going to remove this plastic cover because somebody's going to buy this. This is still brand new. But we have a lot more features. I've talked about this ad nauseum, the trailer management and towing data. I love this feature. Also, of course, we now have cameras across many different trim levels of the F-150, and cameras weren't mandated yet in 2011. And in this XLT, we have a 360-degree view as well. This truck, additional settings, let's see, front sensors, so it has park sensors as well. It has better visibility. Of course, it has navigation, but this is all kind of standard stuff, and phone integration, and of course radio controls that are physical still, and climate control with different features, including heated seats in this particular XLT right here. More tech. I know how you love tech. Well, I'm being a little bit sarcastic, but this truck will also help you back up a trailer. Pro Trailer Backup Assist is right here, where you could steer it using this knob instead of the steering wheel to back up. Trailer brake controller is still by my right knee, very handy, and actually a little bit smaller than before in that older truck, but still very easy to engage. And my four-wheel drive controller is here with drive modes and rear locking differential, which is right here. And this button is empty. If this was a little bit fancier, you could also have four-wheel drive automatic mode in one of these trucks. Many power options in this new truck. First of all, wireless charger for your phone, USB-C, Type-C, and Type-A, and more importantly, now 400 watt, 120 volt outlet right here, so you could charge your laptops, your devices, your cameras. 12 volt is still here. There are dual glove boxes. You can open this top portion as well. So I love this about it. And also, we have to look outside in the bed for even more power options. Let me use my new fancy key to open the tailgate. Magic, right? That's what 14 years of progress looks like. This is not bad line, but of course you can get it bad lined. But we have a few more features in the bed. We have little cubby holes and also power. No matter if you're buying brand new or used, you should check out GrangerWarranty.com for that peace of mind and the factory-backed extended warranty, because you can save some money. You could protect your powertrains, a lot of the components, including suspension. And even if your truck or car is a few years old with not a lot of miles, you can get it inspected and still cover yourself with an extended warranty. Use the link in the description below. You could save about $1,000 compared to other places, and get that peace of mind with GrangerWarranty.com. When I was first coming up to this truck, I expected the rear seat to be very small, but it's not. Okay, I'm sitting a little bit low. My knees are a little bit high. I would have wished maybe this cushion would have been a little bit higher, but look at this space. I'm sitting behind myself. I'm almost 6'3". There's a humongous amount of space back here and pretty much flat floor. Really amazing to see in a 14-year-old truck. And then also, if you raise this up, quite a bit of storage and little hooks for your grocery bags or additional items, and you could just lower it this way. But in this one, there is no center console here with cup holders. You have to use your door for the cups. The rear seat space actually looks very similar to the older truck. I'm surprised once again. Let me try the seat. Yeah, I do feel like I'm sitting a little bit higher and my knees are not quite as high, but still tremendous space and a lot of actually features like my vents, which are very important, and a lot more charging options, including 120 volts here. There's plenty of space, flat floor, just like before, and even more options like this little shelf that you could lock in, and when you close, it makes for a tight seal so nobody can see under there. All right, let's take this 2011 first year of the EcoBoost for a test drive. Yes, this once again was a huge deal for Ford. While most manufacturers, including Ford, were using V8 engines to get maximum capability and performance from a half-ton full-size truck, downsizing the engine and making more torque and adding turbochargers was a huge deal back then. And the big question in your mind, in my mind, is, was it a good move? Is it reliable? Is it still a good truck all these years down the road? And I don't know the history of this truck. I do know it has 173,000 miles on the clock, and it feels like it has a lot of power. The power rating back then was quite impressive, 365 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque. And a 6-speed automatic. We're gonna get on a highway in a second and I'll be able to stretch the legs. I think this is a great opportunity to drive both of these EcoBoosts back to back and see the real difference. By the way, this white sticker here is a customer to remove, whoever the new owner will be, and it talks about where this truck is built and where the major components are built. Transmission, the 10-speed is built in the US. This engine is built in Mexico, it says, and this truck is built near Kansas City, Missouri. So there's only 2 plants, and they're both in the United States, that built the F-150 of any kind. And one is in Dearborn, Michigan, and the other one is in Missouri. So good to know that these trucks are built in the US. Of course, I've driven dozens of these F-150s with variety of different engines. I used to own an F-150 hybrid, the Power Boost, so I'm very well versed with these trucks. But I can tell you one thing. I think the driving experience, the smoothness of this powertrain has improved. The 10-speed is just crisper shifting, and you can almost not even notice it shifting. It's that smooth and crisp, and provides a lot of, like, a wave of power coming on. We'll see how it accelerates onto the highway. And also should provide better efficiency in theory. In practice, your results may vary, of course. If you're driving a lot of steady state highway, it does have an eco mode, so you can control modes. You didn't used to have modes before. I'm gonna put it in sport and give it a tiny bit of an acceleration, not a lot, just a tiny one, onto the highway. Official maximum tow rating on a 2011 F-150 was 11,300 pounds, but that's probably for a different configuration. So if you're looking at this crew cab with a few options, that number probably is somewhere lower, maybe around 10,000 pounds, which is still a good number. But I've noticed something. The trailer connectors are actually here hanging underneath the rear bumper, which is not a great place for them to be, because if you are off-road, this can get hit and damaged. Let's take a look at the Payload in the old truck. 1,436 pounds. Actually a quite impressive number. But if you look at the gross vehicle weight rating here, 7,200 pounds. So if you take this minus that, that means the curb weight of this truck is around 5,800 pounds, which is actually quite heavy for a vehicle like this. The maximum towing rating for the F-150 went up about 2,200 pounds to 13,500 pounds in a particular configuration. And this truck, the way it's configured, probably tows a little bit less than that. I would say probably around 11-ish, depending on the rear axle configuration. So not a huge difference from the older truck, but I can see they changed this. The trailer wiring connectors are now up above, protected inside the bumper. I really like that. Something very important and grandiose happened in 2015. It's because Ford switched to all aluminum bodies and beds for the F-150, and they did it mainly to save weight, of course maintain all the safety, but it helps this. Take a look here. This is a crew cab 4x4 with 1,888 pounds of payload. It's about 400 pounds more than the older truck. 400 pounds doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, it is, because it allows you to tow heavier trailers. You can pack this truck with people and can still pull a trailer with it. And it's way lighter. So if you look at this gross vehicle weight rating here, 7,100 minus this, minus about 1,900. This truck weighs about 500 pounds less, maybe 600 pounds less than the old one. 2011 was actually a humongous year for Ford and F-150 because they basically introduced up to 4 new engine options in this truck. And this was kind of a big headline. This was the first twin turbocharged V6 in a pickup truck, or one of the most popular pickup trucks. So it was very important for Ford to get it right. But you could see this is quite a unique design because the grille comes up with the hood. You have your intercooler here inside the bumper, and this is all open. Your license plate is actually on the side. That's very important for the turbocharger and the air going in. Then there is a transmission cooler, radiator, and the rest. It's a little dirty, but it looks nice. All right, let's see what this engine bay looks like. Well, it looks quite a bit different actually. The airbox is here, the grille no longer comes up with the hood, and the engine is more powerful. Now you have a 10-speed automatic versus 6. You have more power and more torque, and still many engine options between the new 2.7 liter twin turbo V6 to the Coyote 5 liter, or the hybrid, the EcoBoost Power Boost hybrid. This truck is also pretty special because the 2011 F-150 EcoBoost was also one of the first pickup trucks that TFL has ever reviewed. It was Roman and Nathan. I want to show you a clip from that video right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the best-selling vehicle in America, and I do mean vehicle. This Ford F-150 pickup outsells SUVs, outsells minivans, and outsells passenger cars. And it comes with 4 different engines. Perhaps the 2 most popular are this V8 and the brand new EcoBoost. Which, that reminds me, Nathan got to test drive recently before all this snow.
That's right. And what we're going to do is we're going to compare the two. We're going to compare the V8 versus the V6. 2 of the most popular vehicles, and they're really closely matched.
I want to thank my friend Maynard at Brighton Ford, Colorado, because for this truck we also have the original window sticker. So you could see the original efficiency ratings from the government, 15 MPG city, 21 highway, and we could see the final price. So before discounts, $42,130. After discounts, $40,630. This sounds like a lot of money for 2011. Let's use the inflation calculator and see how much this would be right now. All right, so I'm using a CPI inflation calculator at data.bls.gov, so US government site, and it's telling me that using inflation from 2011 to now, this truck would have a sticker price of $58,608, which is actually a Also fairly steep price. Well, the EcoBoost V6 can still be very thirsty if you are heavy on the throttle, but the government rating is 16 city, 24 highway, 19 combined, which is quite a bit better than the older one. So remember, with inflation, the old truck would have cost about $58,000 now. Well, can we still buy a truck for $58K? With similar features? Well, the sticker price on this puppy is higher, $62,410. But right now is a good time of year. This is February 2025. This is a 2024 model that's still on the lot. So they have about $8,900 of discounts and potential savings here. So this truck, you could maybe take it away for around $54,000. Yeah, it works within inflation. All right, this truck drives pretty good. I'm not hearing anything rattle or shake. The suspension feels pretty firm, even after all these miles. It seems like whoever owned this truck took fairly decent care of it. But what I really want to know is how it accelerates onto the highway. Let's see how it does. I'm gonna slow down a little and I'm gonna hit it. Got a weird little whistle, but a lot of pull. It downshifts, it goes, it does whistle a tiny bit, but this transmission feels good, plenty of power. We've seen many videos from you, the owners of these trucks too, and a lot of you reported that, pretty good reliability. One thing to note is that you may need to replace turbochargers somewhere along the life of this truck. This truck is already 14 years old. It's very possible that the turbochargers have already been replaced, or maybe they're close to that. So you would have to dig down into the history of this truck, figure that out, because that would be a big expense if you just bought a used truck like this and then had to do turbocharger work very, very soon. So you would have to check, kind of the quality of the oil, the coolant, all that stuff before making a decision for this truck. But that goes also for a V8 truck of this age and this type of mileage. So I think overall, this technology appears to be, this is just a random truck I picked out. Brighton Ford didn't really know I was coming until like a day ago, yesterday, when I told them. So it's not like I specifically picked a perfect truck. This is kind of a vehicle they took in on trade, and it seems to be a pretty solid one at that. So yeah, maybe that is true. Maybe they did used to build trucks more solid, affordably. I don't know. I mean, $42,000 for a 2011 crew cab, that was a lot of money back then. Oh yeah, it spins those tires in two-wheel drive, and these are Goodyear Wrangler Territory ATs, which are fairly beefy. Not the most aggressive off-road tire, and this is not an FX4 package, but still quite impressive tire package for this 4x4 from the factory. That's really good to see as well. And the power numbers are 400 horsepower, 500 pound-feet of torque. So quite a lot of torque, more torque than the older EcoBoost, and more horsepower as well. Let's see how it behaves. Oh wow, it will spin its tires. And like I said, I mean, never mind the noises that the old truck was making, the smoothness of this powertrain is pretty clear. And I can actually throw it back into eco mode, so it doesn't have to be so high strung. Oh, and the cabin is quieter. And Ford did a big thing by going to aluminum, because they improved every aspect of this vehicle. When you remove weight, and considerable weight, I'm talking about, once again, 500 pounds, maybe more of curb weight, you improve acceleration capability, your payload and towing, you improve the driving dynamic of a vehicle. This is not a sports car, but still, you can tune for those different elements when you have less weight, everything improves. So, did they build old trucks better and more affordably than now? Well, affordability is a whole different topic, and the $62,000 sticker price before discounts on this truck, I think is eye-opening and eye-watering. And I think that's why, one of the reasons why this truck is discounted right now, and I'll show you the final price in a second. But I think these trucks are still super well made as far as engineering is concerned, their comfort, their quality, as far as the driving experience, the capability of these trucks. Almost 1,900 pounds of payload in this half ton. This is quite impressive. So I think the trucks, at least here in this particular review, I think they're still really, really well made. Affordability is a whole different question because you have to talk about economy, your salary, and the rest. So what do you think? Actually, these two trucks within 14 years of each other are quite similar. And how about this? What if I told you that this truck, if you were to purchase it here in Colorado, would be worth around $9,000 at the dealership? It's a fairly good deal. Of course, it did lose quite a lot of value. So did manufacturers used to build them more affordably or more inexpensively? Well, I think in this video, I would say no. They have similar features, and this truck at $42,000 back in the day was also quite a pricey truck. So maybe in the next video, I have to go further into the past. Maybe take a look at something from the 90s or even before that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, I'll see you next time at oldtfl.com.